Brother, is she really not coming?
Emily's tear-streaked eyes looked at me, filled with unbearable pain. My heart clenched, making it almost impossible to breathe. The name Sophia felt like the final straw, and the overwhelming grief from yesterday crashed down on me, forcing me to face a reality I didn't want to accept. I looked at the black and white photo on the altar. The elderly woman in the picture gazed at me with a gentle smile. That was my mother. Father passed away early, and mother had raised Emily and me alone, never remarrying. She endured poverty, the disdain of ill-intentioned neighbors, and worked tirelessly day and night to bring us up. Mother never enjoyed much in life and was left with numerous ailments. 2 days ago, she had an accident in the supermarket and suffered a sudden heart issue, leaving us forever. The sudden loss of mother plunged Emily and me into deep sorrow. And my wife, Sophia, hadn't shown up since the day before yesterday. Sophia was the beauty of my high school. To me, she was like a blooming daffodil, both beautiful and noble. I pursued her for 10 years, even attending the same university as her. People mocked me behind my back, but I didn't care. My heart was set on her. After graduating from college, I found a decent job, and she finally accepted my confession. We started dating, and every day felt like a blessing. 3 years ago, I proposed to her, and she agreed, becoming my wife. At that moment, I thought I was the happiest person in the world. But I never imagined it was all an illusion.
Brother, call her again. She has to come to pay her respects to Mom.
Over the years, mother had treated Sophia like her own daughter, showering her with love and care. By any measure, she should be here.
That's right, Michael. How can a daughter-in-law not show up at her mother-in-law's funeral?
Maybe it's because we're from the countryside and don't know the city rules.
City rules? Do they mean ignoring elders?
Keep your voice down. It's already chaotic enough.
Their comments made my face burn with shame. I finally took out my phone and dialed her number. The phone rang for a long time before she answered.
Hello.
Where are you?
What's the matter?
Before I could respond, a man's voice came through.
Babe, why are you taking calls now? Don't waste time.
The call ended abruptly. Tears finally streamed down my face. At Mother's funeral, the woman I had loved for years was with another man. I could no longer avoid the truth. I had always known that Sophia didn't feel as deeply for me as I did for her. From high school to marriage, I had been the one maintaining our relationship. I confessed to her many times, and even after college, I didn't expect her to reach out and agree to be my girlfriend. The night we confirmed our relationship, I was so happy I couldn't sleep. I went to her house at 4 a.m, eager to see her. But around 7, she came out with another man, clinging to his arm and whispering sweetly. I felt a pang of panic and took a step forward. Sophia looked awkward.
Michael? What are you doing here?
And this is?
This is my childhood neighbor.
She explained smoothly, easing my doubts. I extended my hand.
Hello, I'm Sophia's boyfriend, Michael.
The man seemed to smirk, then gripped my hand tightly. My hand hurt, and I looked up to meet his challenging gaze. But I had just started dating Sophia and didn't dare to question it, swallowing my words. That was my first meeting with Andrew. Little did I know, my marriage and happiness would be destroyed by this man. Narrator, tone, sad mother was laid to rest. I took Emily back home and then returned to my own place. The house was empty. I sat on the sofa, holding mother's portrait, her kind and warm voice echoing in my ears.
Mother's voice, tone, caring Michael, you work hard. Take care of yourself. Son, it's not easy for Sophia to be here alone. You must treat her well, understand? I won't stay long. I don't want to intrude on you too. I'll head back.
Narrator, tone, serious. She was always so cautious. Because of a condition she developed after giving birth to me and my sister, she would always bathe before coming to my house, afraid that my wife would find her unpleasant. She wouldn't even sit on our sofa, always bringing a small stool to sit beside it. She didn't eat much, worried about causing us trouble. Narrator, tone, sad. I knew she wanted to spend more time with me, maybe even stay overnight. But back then, fearing Sophia's displeasure, I swallowed my words and watched Mother's hopeful gaze gradually dim. Again and again. Eventually, Mother seemed to sense something and stopped coming to our house. Narrator, tone, serious. Despite all our efforts to maintain this family, Sophia never showed any gratitude. Mother's constant concessions and tolerance only made Sophia more demanding. Now, to spend time with another man, she didn't even attend Mother's funeral. Narrator, tone, serious. The sound of the door opening interrupted my thoughts. I looked up to see Sophia walking in. She wore heavy makeup, a bright dress, and ambiguous marks on her neck. Narrator, tone, sad. Sophia froze when she saw the photo in my arms. I looked at her quietly and spoke in a low voice.
Michael, tone, serious. Mother is gone.
Sophia, tone, indifferent. I saw.
Narrator, tone, angry. Her indifferent attitude ignited my fury. I could no longer hold back and shouted at her.
Michael, tone, shouting, where the hell were you? You didn't even show up for Mother's funeral. Is this how you act as a daughter-in-law? Do you have any conscience? How could you do this to her?
Narrator, tone, serious. My roar was deafening, but Sophia just frowned slightly.
Sophia, tone, unfriendly. Why are you yelling? She was your mother, not mine.
Narrator, tone, sad. Sophia's expression was cold, as if the one who passed away was not my mother but a stray animal. The old lady in the portrait still smiled foolishly. My heart ached, and I instinctively covered Mother's eyes. Narrator, tone, serious. How could I make her face this woman who felt nothing for her death? This daughter-in-law she had loved for 3 years.
Michael, tone, trembling. Mother treated you well all these years. How could you say such things, Sophia?
Sophia, tone, impatient. Treated me well? I never asked for her care. She always smelled, and I had to clean and disinfect the house every time she came. Do you know how much trouble that caused me?
Sophia, tone, unfriendly. And those pickles she made, didn't she know I didn't like them? Who asked her to make them? Sophia, tone, unfriendly. In the fruits and vegetables she grew, can't I just buy them from the supermarket? She's gone now. Do I have to mourn her too?
Narrator, tone, serious. She glanced at Mother's portrait again, then turned her head in disgust.
Sophia, tone, unfriendly. Why bring this into the house? It's so unlucky.
Narrator, tone, serious. Sophia finished and walked past me into the bedroom. I watched her back, my heart completely shattered. All these years, who had I really fallen for? Or rather, was she even human? I sat on the sofa, holding Mother's portrait, sleepless through the night. Narrator, tone, sad. The next morning, I bought breakfast, and only then did Sophia emerge from the bedroom. She sat at the dining table, glanced at my face, and reluctantly spoke.
Sophia, tone, reluctant. I'll pay my respects to her later, okay?
Michael, tone, serious. Yesterday, when I called you, who was the man with you?
Sophia slammed her chopsticks down.
Sophia, tone, angry. Michael, can't you let it go?
Michael, tone, angry. You've been gone for 3 days, not coming home at night, and during my mom's memorial, you were with another man. Don't I, as your husband, have the right to ask?
Sophia looked at me quietly, then suddenly smirked.
Sophia, tone, unfriendly, and if I tell you, what then? Do you dare to leave me?
I was immediately at a loss for words. Sophia knew me too well, she knew my weaknesses. Yes, do I dare to leave her? I had chased her for so many years before finally winning her over. To me, she was everything. When we graduated from college, she lost a game of truth or dare and was forced by her classmates to crawl like a dog in a private room. She refused and called me to the scene with one phone call.
Sophia, tone, teasing Michael, if you help me, I'll consider being your girlfriend.
My heart pounded like a drum, and the dream I once thought unattainable was right in front of me. That night, I knelt in front of everyone and crawled like a dog in front of her college classmates.
College classmate Tone, mocking ha. Today, I've seen the ultimate simp.
Another classmate, Tone, mocking Sophia sure has skills, making a man love her so much he'd lose his dignity.
Yet another classmate, Tone, mocking, hey buddy, does your mom know you're crawling like a dog outside?
College classmate Tone, mocking, come on, bark for me.
The mocking laughter around me was deafening, and my eyes burned with unshed tears. I knew I was letting down my parents and myself after all these years of education. But I couldn't help it. I loved her too much, enough to sacrifice my dignity and everything else. And now, it was the same. I had my suspicions before, but I didn't dare to confront them because I was afraid of losing her. I feared that once I confronted her, there would be no turning back, and even the superficial peace would be shattered. Just as I was about to say something, the doorbell rang. I sighed in relief, using the opportunity to open the door and interrupt the conversation. But I didn't expect to see Andrew when I opened the door. Andrew's tall and handsome face suddenly appeared before my eyes. He seemed to smile when he saw me, then raised his hand, showing the necklace he was holding.
Andrew, tone, nonchalant, is Sophia here? She left her necklace at my place.
My heart sank, feeling as if I had been struck by lightning. Sophia quickly walked over when she heard the noise, bypassing me to take the necklace from Andrew's hand. That necklace was a gift from my mother when we got married. Mother had been frugal all her life, but she was generous to her daughter-in-law. She used her savings to buy that necklace after much deliberation. I could still see Mother's trembling hands placing the necklace in Sophia's hand, her ingratiating smile vivid in my memory.
Mother, tone, hopeful if Sophia doesn't like it, I'll exchange it. As long as she's happy.
I glared at Andrew, the veins on my forehead throbbing.
Michael, tone, angry, how did Sophia's necklace end up at your place?
Andrew, tone, nonchalant, we've been playing cards at my place these past few days. What, you have a problem with that?
Sophia, tone, angry, Michael, enough. Don't make me hate you.
She then grabbed Andrew's arm.
Sophia, tone, serious, Andrew, let's go. We'll talk outside.
Anger surged within me, and I forcefully grabbed Sophia's wrist.
Michael, tone, shouting, do you think I don't know about your affair? You're not going anywhere today.
But before I could react, Andrew's fist was already flying towards my face. Everything happened so quickly, in the blink of an eye. Caught off guard, Andrew's punch landed on my nose, causing blood to spurt out.
Michael, tone, angry, you dare hit me.
Ignoring the blood gushing from my nose, I lunged at Andrew. Andrew wasn't as tall as me, and after a brief struggle, I pinned him down, raining punches on his face. Andrew's nose bled profusely, and he was powerless to fight back. Punch after punch, I hit Andrew's face, feeling a twisted sense of satisfaction as he rolled his eyes. Suddenly, I felt a gust of wind behind my head, and a heavy object struck me. A wave of pain washed over me, and I turned around in disbelief, seeing Sophia holding a baseball bat. She had attacked me for Andrew. narrator, tone, sad dizziness overcame me, and I collapsed to the ground. In the last moment before losing consciousness, I saw Sophia rushing to Andrew, cradling his head in her arms. At that moment, I felt like the biggest joke in the world. I felt a pang of panic and took a step forward. Sophia looked awkward.
Michael? What are you doing here?
And this is?
This is my childhood neighbor.
She explained smoothly, easing my doubts. I extended my hand.
Hello, I'm Sophia's boyfriend, Michael.
The man seemed to smirk, then gripped my hand tightly. My hand hurt, and I looked up to meet his challenging gaze. But I had just started dating Sophia and didn't dare to question it, swallowing my words. That was my first meeting with Andrew. Little did I know, my marriage and happiness would be destroyed by this man. I copied the video from the supermarket. I went straight to the police station to report it, but I reported it as intentional harm, not something more severe. With an injury on my head and clear footage from the apartment hallway surveillance, Sophia couldn't deny it. She was pale as she was taken into the interrogation room by the police.
Michael, are you even a man? Reporting to the police just because your wife hit you a couple of times? Is that really worth reporting?
Maybe not, but what about something more serious? Intentional harm leading to severe consequences could result in a long prison sentence. Now, isn't that worth reporting?
Andrew's face changed instantly, and he stammered.
What? What do you mean?
I don't mean anything. I just thought that since Sophia mentioned it to me, there might be more to the story.
What did Sophia tell you?
She was about to tell me, but you showed up before she could finish. I'll ask her again when she comes out. Anyway, she said it had nothing to do with her.
Andrew stood up abruptly, paced around, and then suddenly ran out of the police station. I knew his target was the supermarket. He wanted to check if the cameras there had captured any crucial evidence. But a trap had already been set for him there. 2 hours later, I received a call from the supermarket manager.
Brother, I told him as you said, that the previous footage had been erased.
Thank you.
Brother, let me give you some advice. Don't do anything foolish. It's not worth it for someone like her.
Thank you, I understand.
Hanging up, I took advantage of Andrew's absence to tell the police that I wanted to reconcile. The police had us fill out a mediation agreement and released Sophia early. Sophia's phone had run out of battery and shut down while we were outside, so she couldn't contact Andrew and had to come home with me. When Andrew returned, full of suspicion, he found that Sophia and I had already left without him, making him even more paranoid. At home, I poured Sophia a glass of water and said calmly,
Sophia, we've had a lot of issues at home recently, and I couldn't handle it, so I took it out on you. I'm sorry. Yesterday, I received a notice that the old neighborhood where my mom lives is going to be redeveloped. Finally, some good news. Our good days are ahead, and we need to cherish them.
Redevelopment?
Yes, redevelopment. Mom's house, along with my grandparents' old factory, could be worth millions.
Sophia was silent for a while before finally softening her attitude.
Michael. I was wrong before. I was also very sad when your mom passed. I'll stay by your side from now on, and we'll live a good life together, okay?
Of course. But I have one condition. From now on, give me your phone. You can't contact Andrew anymore.
Sophia was stunned at first, then obediently nodded.
Of course.
I knew what she was thinking. Once the redevelopment money came through, she would divorce me, take half the money, and run away with Andrew. But I'm sorry, I won't give her that chance. I felt a pang of panic and took a step forward. Sophia looked awkward.
Michael? What are you doing here?
And who is this?
This is my childhood neighbor.
She explained smoothly, easing my doubts. I extended my hand.
Hello, I'm Sophia's boyfriend, Michael.
The man seemed to smirk, then gripped my hand tightly. My hand hurt, and I looked up to meet his challenging gaze. But I had just started dating Sophia and didn't dare to question it, swallowing my words. That was my first meeting with Andrew. Little did I know, my marriage and happiness would be destroyed by this man. I handed the supermarket surveillance footage to the police. Eventually, the court sentenced Andrew to life imprisonment for multiple charges, including intentional harm, and stripped him of his political rights for life. Unexpectedly, I became good friends with the supermarket manager, who happened to have a brother serving time in the same prison as Andrew. I made a couple of trips to the prison, bringing some gifts. After chatting with the brother a few times, we also became good friends. Naturally, as good friends, he understood my unspoken requests. Sure enough, within a month, Andrew was sent to the prison hospital for a medical issue. The prison surveillance didn't capture anything suspicious, and all the inmates claimed they saw nothing. The internal investigation found no leads, so the matter was dropped. But that was just the beginning. Andrew had caused my mother's demise, and I intended to make him pay for it, bit by bit. As for Sophia, she was fired from her job. No respectable company would hire someone with her condition. Once a goddess I cherished, she fell into despair. She had to cover herself with a scarf and wear loose clothing to do cleaning jobs and occasionally collect recyclables to make a living. I used to treasure her, pampering her after we got married. I did all the cooking, cleaning, and laundry. Every day after dinner, I would prepare strawberries for her, watching her eat them one by one. The sweetness of those moments was unforgettable. But 10 years of love and youth were wasted. However, it's never too late to mend. My mother's sacrifice helped me see the true nature of the people around me. Despite the painful price, I finally escaped a failed marriage and a potentially life-threatening spouse. 6 months later, our old house was finally demolished. Emily and I happily signed the papers and each received $6 million in compensation. I invested my share in stocks, and within a few years, my capital doubled, achieving financial freedom effortlessly. 3 years later, I drove my new Maybach to an upscale club. After washing my hands in the restroom, I encountered a disheveled cleaning lady. She looked up and her eyes widened in shock.
Michael. Michael.
She couldn't recognize me. Indeed, the well-dressed, branded man before her was no longer the same Michael she once knew. She used to mock my fashion sense, but now I had transformed into an upper-class gentleman. I adjusted my cufflinks and looked down at her.
Long time no see.
Sophia no longer deserved such an elegant name. She was like a wilted flower in the mud, exuding an unpleasant odor.
Michael. Michael, please help me. I'll do anything for you, cook, clean.
She tried to throw herself at me, but the security guard stopped her. The manager approached and respectfully asked,
Mr. Michael, is she a friend of yours?
I don't know her.
Leaving those words behind, I turned and walked away. Life was good, and I would never look back.